Hello everyone, it's Tilly from Tilly Journals. Welcome back to my channel and to another bullet journal video, my first bullet journal monthly setup for a long time. So I am going to be setting up January in my bullet journal, which is on discbound bullet journal, that's the words I'm looking for. I've got various bits and pieces, including a vellum and a vellum from the Planner Society and a paper, I think, from Rebel Ink Co. My theme for this is sort of these wildflower type things in purple with some craft paper thrown in and and purples. For winter months, I just feel like it is beautiful. So the Tombos I am using are 603, 623 and 606 with 620 for my second line highlights. I've also got 4 washi tapes. The 2 foiled ones are both from Simply Gilded, and the purple 15mm washi that isn't foiled is from Planner Face, and the other washi is just a random one I have with flowers on, though I don't actually use any of them in this setup at all. I also have my glue runner, which I'm using to stick things down, and also a white ink gel pen, which is a jelly roll, and a black brush pen, which is a Tombow, no not Tombow, a oh my gosh, Pentel Touch brush pen. I do PR for Planner Face, who one of the washies is from, so you can use Tilly to save 10%, but as I've said, I don't actually use that washi tape in the end. I don't use any washi tape in this setup. The other pens I did have pulled out was a mild liner in purple and the Zebra Zig dot marker in Hyacinth. So while I've been blabbering on about materials, I have pretty much done the majority of my cover page. So what I've done is essentially I've drawn in all of these flowers and things, wildflower type designs, and they are going to be peeking out from my January title, and then I'm going to put a little calendar near the bottom. So I'm going to use the dotty purple paper either side of a strip of craft paper to start off January, and then I'm going to pop my calendar onto a craft paper and just put that at the bottom of the page. So all of these doodles are really easy to do. They're just like circles and lines and dots, and the idea is that it is a bit scribbly and a bit all over the place, so it doesn't matter whether or not it is neat or tidy, it can be a bit scribbly and all over the place. So here I was just debating where to put a calendar, but I do put it in that like bottom left corner. So here I am brush lettering in January, and I'm going to add some white accents in a little bit, as well as some dots around the page. But that is basically my theming for this month, is pretty much these florals, and I'm going to punch the page to get it back into my thing, and then we're pretty much done with the monthly title page. Again, I am going to go over how long things took me and things. So this cover page is actually one of the longest pages, in fact the longest I spent on any page, and this was 25 minutes, and I think it's because of all of that doodling. And also trying to just find my stride with what I was doing for the month. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for, and just adding in those dots and bits. So yeah, it took me a good 25 minutes to finish this cover page, but that is it all done. We're next going to move on to my monthly spread, and I'm just ripping up some more paper here to form part of that, and I have of course use my guillotine to make sure my edges are straight. So I'm just debating like where to put what and how to do things, and I'm just using my guillotine to make things easier for myself basically. So I'm just going to glue those down, and we're on to my monthly spread. So basically I'm going for a dead simple monthly spread. This monthly did only take me 13 minutes, I believe. It's quite hard to tell because I come back and do some of the white afterwards, because the black ink from the title needs to have dried before you go in and do the white. So I've tried to like add in the time it took me to go back as well, but it's not always happened. So I'm just pulling in a few of those doodles as well onto the top left of the page, and then my monthly is going to be a vertical monthly. It's just going to be a space to write in any events and things. Later in the video I will also highlight the weekends, so it's obvious what is the weekend and what is not, but I don't do that until nearly the end of the video. So this is just a space for me to write down any events or birthdays of people that like it impacts on my day. Like I write all my birthday cards quite long in advance, so I don't need like most people's birthdays in here, but if it's somebody I'm going to see or whatever, I do like to have it in here. So I'm just popping in the numbers for the days and then what day of the week it is next to that. And that is really it for the monthly. And again, I'm going to hole punch it again, realising that I should have just waited until I'd done both pages, and now that those first 2 pages are going in. Next up, we're going to do a little bit of a dashboard for the month. So this is just going to be a little space where my main things are for the month. So in what we're going to add onto this page is a sales tracker for my Shop Tilly journals, a brain dump, and a currently space. So I am just ripping some craft paper to form those titles, and the whole currently section is going to be in that craft paper on the bottom. What I did decide to do is I did actually print a dot grid on this craft paper, but it is quite faint, it's quite hard to see in person, and you definitely cannot see it on camera. So there's that. So the way I do my sales tracker is that I've drawn some of those wildflowers in, and basically I'll colour something in whenever I get a sale. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I've just used that dotted line, which is going to come back in quite a lot. It's like a random mix of lines and dots to separate the 2 sales and brain dump section. So yeah, it's quite a simple little dashboard area, but I really like how it came together. I think using that whole half page of craft paper is really lovely, and I think craft paper is going to be something that I pull into my journal most months because I really love the look of it. Maybe I should look at doing a craft paper notebook another day, but obviously that's not today's. So this dashboard setup took me 13.5 minutes, which I kind of amused me because it was a similar amount of time to the amount of time my monthly took, and I don't really understand because this feels far more involved than the monthly, but I don't know, maybe it's because I didn't do anything with my brain dump or currently section at this point. I come back and do all of that, but who knows. So yeah, I'm just adding some white little aspects in now, and then we are going to move on to my next page, which is a sleep tracker. So I this month have been tracking the hours I slept as well as sort of the quality. So what I'll do is I'm going to set up a page very similar to my monthly with the days of the week and the dates down that left side, and then basically blank all the way to the right, and then at the top and bottom I'm going to put in some times with 8, 9 and 10 o'clock right next to each other because I tend to go to bed between 10 and 12, and then 12 till 5 stacked close together, and then from 5 till 10 a.m. are nice and spread apart because that's what fit on the page. I very rarely get up after 8 a.m. So yeah, there's that. But it just means that I can highlight like exactly when I went to sleep and when I woke up. So by half square is half an hour in those hours, so it's more accurate. Although yeah, it makes it look a little bit odd. So that's kind of it for the sleep track, and what I'll do is highlight over the days the times where I was asleep, and I will put a dot on the quality of my sleep. So that sleep tracker only took me 7 minutes to set up. Again, not really sure why it took so little time, but it did. Then next up I am doing my mood and steps tracker, and both of these are going to be similar to how I did my shop sales trackers, is that they're going to be a doodle of a wild plant flower thing, and I'm going to pop a colour code in for good, neutral and bad basically. So for mood, that is just going to be good, neutral or bad in the 3 colours that I've got, and for steps I think bad is going to be like barely moved today, neutral is going to be like very close to my step goal but not hit my step goal, and happy is going to be like hit my step goal. I might actually write in the number of steps on the leaves, but we'll see because they're not the biggest leaves. I didn't love how my mood one ended up because I didn't really leave enough room to have the 2 plants, and then I just felt like there was weird spacing left, and I wasn't in love with how it came together. But it works out alright in the end. I think it'll look good once it's got the colour in. I think these 2 pages are feeling very bland to me at the moment because the only colour is coming from the paper, and I am a colourful girly, so I need more colour. If you haven't got that from my last 2 setups, my rainbow start of year stuff, and then the purple everywhere in this. So this spread took a little bit longer to set up. It actually took me 17 minutes, I think, just because of trying to draw the petals and things and try and make sure everything was about the right size. But yeah, I don't really know why it took quite so long to work out how I was going to do it. So here is my little key. As I say, it's quite a simple little key. It is just positive, neutral, negative. I actually saw that Raw Plans, Natalie, had a like bar graph of her step count, and I think I'm going to do that for February, but I only saw it after I'd set up these pages, and I was like, oh, that's such a good idea, because you can actually like see where your steps are up to. So that's my plan for February's step tracker. Then we are going to move on to my habit tracker. Now, this isn't a habit tracker I've seen very many people use this style of habit tracker. So what I've actually done is, or what I'm going to do, is draw a monthly calendar with each square of the calendar being a box of 9. So there's going to be 3x3 spacing. So what I'm doing at first is I'm just marking out where that is pretty much on the spread, and then I'm going to start like adding in some decoration and stuff. I may go a little bit off topic in this next little bit because essentially my camera footage is being weird and it's just paused in the video there, but I know it's done this before, and when it exports it's absolutely fine, but for some reason all I can see is like stillness. But I'm gonna essentially decorate the page with a load of torn paper and stuff, and then have some of those flowers coming down off the top. Then we're going to have the nice big calendar, and then at the bottom you can already see down there is my little key / grid. So I've drawn the square, I've drawn a 3x3 square and put numbers in them, and I've left space to define what habits those numbers are. Don't fill in any of these spreads during this video because that's just how my brain works. I just feel like I'm not ready to fill them out, because when I recorded this video it was like early January, and I'm just not really ready at that point to, you know, it was early to mid-January, I'm not ready at that point to like commit to what I want everywhere. And that is going to be particularly true for the next page that we set up as well, which is going to be my action steps, which we're still a couple of minutes off doing that, I think, getting to that, I think. So sorry if my timestamps around here are a little bit odd. It's because I literally just have a frozen image of myself trying to put down the vellum, basically. But yeah, I love how this page came together, and I think it's a really unique way of tracking habits. So what it means is that you can both see at a glance which habits you're keeping up with and which you're not, but you can also see if there's any bits of like certain days where you don't do any of your habits, or you do all of your habits. And yeah, so my habits, I am gonna pull in some that I just need to track all the time, because otherwise I won't do them, like brushing my teeth and washing my face just don't get done if I don't track them. But there'll also be some things from my goal setting, for example making sure I spend quality time and have a like serious conversation with my husband every single day, and like have a chat about how we are doing and everything. So that's kind of the idea of how I'll pick out my habits. As I said in my 2025 setup video, if you watched that, that was a long video, so I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. It's just because these things take a long time to set up. Like the raw footage for this is about 3 hours, and the raw footage for the raw footage for the yearly setup was about 6 hours, so it's quite a lot of time that goes into it. So yeah, I can't remember what I was saying. I had a point. My brain's not very with it at the moment. I had some weird news yesterday and I'm feeling a bit strange about it, and it just keeps like crashing over me, and I keep getting a bit upset about it, so my brain is just on a bit of a go slow, so I don't actually remember what I was saying. But yeah, I think my point was these things take a long time to set up, so I want to give myself time to do it. I think I have now moved on to the next 3 pages of this spread, but they're all pretty basic setups. Oh, did I say my habit tracker took me 21 minutes to set up? So I'm now on to what I've called my action steps and my silver linings. So my action steps are different action steps that I need to do to complete my goals for the month. So how my goal planner works, if you haven't seen it, and I do use my own goal planner, or I am this year, didn't do proper goal planning last year, is essentially that I break down my annual goals into quarterly goals, and once you've got your quarterly goals, you break those down and basically work out all of the action steps that you need to do to meet that goal over the 3 months, and then you assign those action steps to different months. So essentially this page is going to be for tracking what action steps that I need to get done this month. That's the idea of it. So that's kind of how I'll be thinking about it and looking at it. And actually these next 3 pages, the order of these 3 pages doesn't really make sense, but it's because I wanted the 2-page spread that I'm setting up here, so all 3 of these pages are just getting the craft paper and some of the purple papers put on. That's all the setup for these pages, really, and that somehow still took me 21 minutes. I don't really know how, I don't know what took that long, but it did, so we're going with it. So the next 2 pages I wanted on a double page spread, and this is for silver linings, and this is essentially, my goal is to write down 3 positive things about that day every evening. So that can be anything from, like, a silver lining might have been having a nice cuddle with my husband, or it might have been seeing my nephew, or it might have been I actually got out of bed without wanting to cry today. Like anything that is a little bit positive that we can talk about and look at for the day can go on these 2 pages, but every day I want to write down 3 of them. So that's the idea for those 2 spreads, and I think I'm coming up to the end of setting them up and the end of me being able to just see a frozen screen, because we are going to move on to my goal plan. So my goal plan is essentially a space where I schedule out all of those action steps that I was talking about before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bigger calendar, and this is a 4x4 square calendar in my B6, and it allows me to essentially schedule out all of those things that were on the action steps and give them a time and a day to do them. Not necessarily time, but a day to do them, or whatever it needs to be, so that basically everything that I need to do to achieve my goals is all set up and all ready. I just have to go to it on that day and be like, these are things I need to do today to achieve my goals. And what I'll do is I will mark in like my work shifts and things on this so that I know how much time I'm going to have on any given day. So I'm setting this up again using the sort of like a mixture of lines and dots, words. So to split up the boxes, and then I am going to number the boxes as well with just a light purple pen, and I think that's one of the places I actually do pull in the dot grid marker, but not as a dot grid, as I use the fine tip of the dot marker to write those down the dates. And really I actually work in 4-week intervals, so I should have really included the 30th and 31st of December and the 1st and 2nd of February, but for some reason I decided not to, and to be fair, it allowed me to include a little bit more deco on this page and include those elements and stuff. But to be honest, the rate at which I am setting up my bullet journals, like by the time I've done it, those pages will be set up by the time I'm coming to do like anywhere near those days. So that goal plan page took me only 14 minutes to set up, and then we have the quickest spread of this setup, which would have been even quicker, but I screwed up my lettering and was not happy with it, so I relettered it and restuck it down. So that's what you've literally just seen me doing, and this is going to be for home tasks. Basically, we have an awful lot to do in our house before baby comes, and I just want a master list of everything that needs to be done to finish that project in time. So yeah, I haven't worked out the categories or what's going to go on this list, but I just want to have somewhere that it is listed out and ready to go. So I've set that up ready. The next page I'm setting up, which I've actually nearly finished by the time I'm talking, because it only took me, the home tasks page only took me 5 minutes, and this one only took me 4. So there really wasn't very much to do. I actually changed my plan for this. I was going to put the title at the top of the page, but unfortunately, because I ripped the page pulling up the home tasks, the first home task sticker, I decided to do it at the bottom just to reinforce that bit that I'd made a bit thin and a bit dodgy. And this is just going to be a space for memories. So my idea is to do like a doodle for any memories or some lettering for them. I haven't quite decided which, but one or the other, and that will set up my that will give me just a space to like doodle and be creative with what my memories were for the month. And then the final page I am setting up in this spread, which took me 18 minutes to set up, is my review page. So this is my month in review. I'm not gonna lie, I stole some of this idea from Jessie Corinne as well as from my old bullet journals, and the categories I use are sort of from Jessie Corinne as well, though again it's kind of a mishmash of hers and how I used to do it. So how I am setting up this page is that I have that top little bit that is just the decoration for the page, and then coming in I basically have these craft paper strips that I'm going to use for the titles, and that's going to be there's going to be 4 on the right hand side and 3 on the left, and then I'm going to every second line highlight the other bits, but you can see here me just working out that spacing using my ruler. So the categories on the left are wins, which is any sort of wins that I had this month. Goals, which is to basically say how I got on with my goal action steps, and how I feel about that going forward. And then things, and then the third section is next month, which is like sort of how I'm gonna make things better the next month, what I need to do, etc, etc. And then on the right we have lessons, which I got rid of sort of challenges from Jessie Corinne's, because I feel like you can sort of mix your challenges into your lessons, because most challenges also teach you something, so there's that. I've just discovered that my computer is doing something weird, so I really hope it is still recording this voiceover, because it'll be a bit awkward if not, and I will have just talked to myself for some time. So now I am going through and adding in some second line highlights just to make it easier to write on things, and Kiara is trying to get involved and definitely caused some wonky lines here, but I mean, we love our cats, so why not? So I'm also then going to go through all of the pages I've set up and basically just do any finishing touches to them. So for example, I've just gone to my month and I'm just highlighting the weekends rather than every other day. I don't love how this came out, but it is what it is. I added my categories for currently, so the things that I'm going to track in my currently are reading, watching, playing, feeling, loving, in the news, eating, drinking, crafting, celebrating. I've also added an every second line highlight for my brain dump, and then the big thing that actually took quite some time and is why this whole little section is sped up quite a lot is adding the second line highlight to my silver linings page. So this bit is sped up a little bit faster than the others, and then that is it. That's my setup. So here's my cover page, my month, and my dashboard. I'm loving how that looks together. Then we've got our sleep tracker where I'm showing where I'm going to highlight. Then we've got my mood and my steps, which I'm just going to colour in a leaf of. The habit tracker, and I'm just explaining there that how I'm going to do that. Action steps for anything I need for my goals, and they will be broken down into sections. It depends how things go. My silver linings, which is, as I've explained, just something positive, 3 positive things each day. My goal plan, which is how I am going to break down my action steps into days. House tasks, which again needs an organisation. Memories, which I'll doodle / letter, and then my month in review. And that is it for my January setup and for this video. Comment, like down below, all that kind of jazz. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!